Welcome to Elizabeth's Chronicles. If you love true crime, consider subscribing. Vincent Brothers was born on May 31 in 1962. He served in the Marines, then received his master's degree in education from California State University Bakersfield, and a bachelor's degree from Norfolk State University. Brothers was the vice principal of John C. Fremont Elementary School in Bakersfield, California. Brothers had a daughter from a previous relationship, Margaret Kern Brothers. He married a woman briefly, but the marriage ended in disaster when Brothers was arrested once for a misdemeanor spousal abuse, and sentenced to 6 days in jail, and put on probation. In 1992 he married for a second time. And just a year later she sued for divorce, claiming he threatened to kill her, and that he had been violent. In 1996, Brothers sexually harassed a woman at the school where he was vice principal. She states he hit her, and that the police persuaded her not to file charges against a man considered a respectable community leader. The school investigated the incident and Brothers denied all allegations. The school warned him that if he ever did this again it could destroy his career. He was never disciplined. Brothers started seeing Joni Harper. She became pregnant, and gave birth to their first child, Marks her one in 1998. Brothers was not there for the birth of his son. The two married in 2000. Joni Harper attended Southwestern Christian College on a basketball scholarship, and received her psychology degree. She had a deep love of basketball, and continued officiating the NCAA Division I and II for college basketball for several years. Joni loved children, and worked with troubled students at the school in Bakersfield where Brothers was vice principal. The couple separated just a month after getting married, and the marriage was later annulled due to Brothers being unfaithful. He would leave for a few days at a time, and Joni was not allowed to question where he was. Joni also claimed the marriage was a fraud due to Vincent lying about not being married prior to marrying her. He had been married twice before. Despite the annulment, the couple continued to have a relationship from time to time. Not long after, Joni found out she was pregnant again. Lindsay Michelle was born later that year, without her father being present. In January of 2003, the couple secretly remarried when Joni became pregnant with his child for a third time. In May of that same year Marshall was born. Brothers was present for Marshall's birth. The couple had 3 children together. Marks, age 4, Lindsay, age 2, and Marshall, age 6 weeks. Although things were going fine with the couple, Vincent moved out due to not getting along with Joni's mother, Ernestine Harper. Ernestine Harper, 70 years old, raised her 5 children by herself. She worked at the county hospital, and sent each of her 5 children to college by herself. Ernestine was devoted to her faith. Throughout her life, she was involved in her church and community. She even did missionary work in Africa previously. Just 6 months after marrying his wife for a second time, he purchased a plane ticket to Columbus, Ohio, telling his wife it was to visit his brother. On July 6, Joni and her mother Ernestine took the 3 children to morning church services, where Joni showed off their new baby Marshall. After church Joni, her mother, and the children met up with one of Joni's friends Kelsey Spann, for lunch. After lunch, the family told Kelsey they'd be back to church for the evening service and left. Joni and the family arrived home for a nap before evening church service. When Joni, her mother, and the children didn't arrive to service, her friend Kelsey felt a little off-put but didn't raise the alarm. After 2 days, and Joni not answering any of her calls, she became worried, and dropped by the home. At first, nothing seemed odd, until she tried to use her key that Joni had given her. When it wouldn't open the door, something was blocking the way, preventing it from opening. So she tried the side patio door, which was unlocked. She was traumatized by what she found. Her panicked 911 call came in after 7 a.m. Police arrived within a few minutes of the call. Ernestine was found laying in the hallway near her bedroom. She had been shot twice in the face, at close range. In another bedroom, officers found Joni face down on her bed, with several gunshot wounds and stab wounds to her head, chest and back. At the foot of the bed lay 2-year-old Lindsay, still wearing her blue dress she wore to church. She had been shot once in the back. 4-year-old Marks was laying beside his mother, with a sheet over him. When police uncovered the sheet, his eyes were wide open. Police believe he was awake, and terrified. He was so scared he bit his own hand to the bone. He died from a single gunshot to the right side of his head. At first, police believed baby Marshall was missing. But after a more thorough search, they found him hidden under a pillow with a single gunshot to his back. Police immediately tracked down Vincent Brothers to notify him of his family's deaths. He was at his mother's home in North Carolina. Police suspected he was the person who did the crimes. However, at this point he had an alibi, so they could not make an arrest. During the investigation, a neighbor near the home of the murders reported seeing Brothers near the home on the day of the crimes. Furthermore, records show that the car Brothers rented in Ohio had 5,400 miles added while he used the vehicle. Police determined that was enough miles to travel to California and back. Entomologists examined the car, a Dodge Neon, and found bug parts from species only native to areas west of the Rocky Mountains, yet Brothers maintained he never left the eastern part of the United States. When police reviewed Vincent Brothers' cell phone records, it showed numerous calls from North Carolina during the time of the murders. Police thought they may be investigating an innocent man, until later family members came forward stating that Vincent had given them explicit instructions to make calls at specific times on specific dates from his cell phone. One of Brothers' alibis was a store receipt where items were purchased in a store in North Carolina on the day of the murders. However, after careful examination of store surveillance footage and receipts, it was found that it was actually his brother, Melvin, who had forged his brother's signature, and used Vincent Brothers' credit card to help him establish an alibi. At first Melvin lied about his involvement, but later admitted he did use the card, and forged his brother's signature to help his brother. Vincent Brothers was arrested on May 31 in 2004, and charged with 5 counts of murder with special circumstances. Vincent claimed he was innocent and entered a plea of not guilty. Melvin Brothers testified in court that he did not know where his brother was from the 4th through the 7th. He also admitted in court to using his brother's card and forging his signature. Vincent Brothers took the stand in his own defense and claimed that he was driving around with his other brother, Troy, from the 4th through the 7th. However, his brother, Troy, was subpoenaed to testify in court. He disappeared. When he was involved in hitting a boy on a bike, he was arrested and later testified for the defense. Prosecution believed that Brothers continuously carried on several affairs with other women, and he wanted rid of his growing family. They alleged he did not want to support his family any longer and wanted free. During the entire trial, despite losing his entire family, he remained stone cold and emotionless. The jury deliberated for less than 2 days. On May 15 in 2007, Vincent Brothers was found guilty of 5 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances. At the sentencing hearing, family members read statements. His only living child, Margaret Kern Brothers, said she was resigning from the Brothers family, and after she walks out of court she would only be known as Margaret Kern going forward. She said, "I am leaving my name with him. I don't have a father now. He is just a man handcuffed to a chair, looking straight ahead. He will never see me again, until it's time to die. The 18-year-old continued through tears, I just think of Lindsay, and how cute and small she was, and how funny she was, she said. Now she would be so old. She would be 7 or 6, 9 is the best age, and I just get so angry at my father sometimes because Marks never got to see that. Brothers did not look her way as she poured out her heart. I was scared, thinking I don't know what happened, she continued. Maybe he would come after me. Maybe he would come after my mother. I even tried to kill myself, she said to the court. I was in the hospital for 3 days, and my mother told me, don't let him dictate what your life is going to be. You can't be one more child that he killed. Ernestine Harper's son, Eddie L. Harper Sr., also testified at the hearing. He said the question now is why. Although we don't know why it happened, we thank God we know who. There is another judge that we are going to stand before. All secrets will be revealed. Vincent Brothers was sentenced to death by lethal injection on September 27 by Judge Michael Bush. The judge said, the murders were cold, calculated, and vicious. Vincent Brothers is at the California Department of Corrections on death row at San Quentin State Prison awaiting his date of execution. However, on March 13, in 2019, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order, instituting a moratorium on the death penalty in the state of California, in the form of a reprieve for all people sentenced to death. He will remain in prison the rest of his life, unless the death penalty moratorium is overturned. A wrongful death lawsuit was brought against Vincent Brothers in July of 2005, just 2 years after the murders. The lawsuit cites that the deaths deprived them of the support, love, care, comfort, affection, society, presence, companionship, and protection of their deceased family members. One of the 4 plaintiffs said, we just want to make sure he isn't allowed to get anything from Joni. If anything comes from him, we just think his daughter should have it, Elaine Bird said. She said Margaret is doing very, very well and is now a successful college student in San Diego. The family won the lawsuit, and an undisclosed amount of money was awarded. The lawsuit cited that any money Vincent Brothers or his brothers received from the murders would go to his daughter, Margaret Kern Brothers. The Harper family and friends planted trees in memory of the 5 members of the Harper family that were murdered. They sang God has smiled on me, he has been good to me. Brandon Carnell was born on November 25 in 1973. His mother and father were Michael, age 37, and Carol, age 36. His younger sister was Candace, age 11. Both children attended school at the Springfield Christian School. Michael and Carol were a friendly couple who were avid church-goers. The family lived in northwestern Oakland County, in Pontiac, Michigan, about 3.5 miles north of Davisburg. On June 22, 1988, when Brandon was only 14 years old, he coldly shot his mother, Carol, and sister, Candace, both in the head. He then hid in the garage for his father to arrive home from work. When his father pulled into the garage, he was shot, but survived. He made his way to the kitchen, and called the police. He told police someone had shot his wife and daughter, then the call was suddenly cut off. Brandon hung the phone up, and shot his father again. Brandon ran to a neighbor's home where he told her his family was just murdered, and the murderers were after him. The neighbor called police, who advised the neighbor not to let him in. When police arrived, Brandon was taken into custody without incident. At first Brandon stuck to his story about intruders. He said it was a black man and a white man, but later made a full confession. He said he did it because his family picked on him. He claimed, they'd spank me and hit me, and stuff for little things. He went on to say, me and my mom hated each other. Me and my mom never got along since the day I was born. I really hated my mom, until I got to know her, and then I loved her, but I still hated her. During the investigation, divers discovered the 20-gauge shotgun that was later determined to be the murder weapon. It was found in a pond behind the family home. Autopsies showed that both parents were shot in the back. Carol and Candace were only shot once. Michael was shot twice. Brandon was held at the Oakland County Children's Village while police obtained warrants charging him with 3 counts of murder, and use of a firearm during a felony. Because Brandon was only 14 at the time of the triple murders, and under Michigan law, as a juvenile, he can only be incarcerated until he turns 19, then he must be released. During his incarceration, he was given rehabilitative programming and treatment. Carnell's great-uncle, Guillermo Garcia, did not agree with Brandon being released. He testified at the hearing, "There's a bigger court in heaven. Lord knows what's going to happen after he gets out." Judge Sandra Silva said, "Brandon must be released at age 19 no matter how reprehensible the crime. I don't think the court has any say." Edward Sibber, the prosecutor in the case, said at a hearing that Brandon Carnell should stay behind bars until he's 21, under the new state law passed after the horrible crimes. The Michigan state legislature passed the Juvenile Justice Act in 1998 due to judicial abuse when sentencing juveniles in first-degree murders. Juveniles in Michigan are rarely tried as adults. After reviewing numerous cases, they found that many of these juveniles convicted of first-degree murders after released went on to commit murders again, some multiple murders. The law helps keep juveniles convicted of murder behind bars until their 21st birthday. On Wednesday, November 25 in 1992, on his 19th birthday, Brandon Carnell was released. His attorney told the court he plans to attend college and find a steady job. He finished college, married, has children, and attends church regularly as his parents did. He has not committed any crimes since his release nearly 3 decades ago. Brandon now directs several children's outreach programs and volunteers at his church. Vincent Brothers remarried his wife as a facade, so he could murder her, and all 3 of his children. He didn't want to financially support his children anymore. He was a selfish, cold, heartless monster who deserves to spend his entire life behind bars. Brandon Carnell was a deeply disturbed young man. He murdered his parents and sister, and only spent 5 years behind bars. That isn't enough punishment for someone who took out his entire family. He was able to go on and live a normal life, marry, and have children. His sister was never given that opportunity. If he truly is rehabilitated, then his family must haunt his dreams endlessly. That concludes this episode. Keep your eye out for the next volume, coming soon. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.